Okay, so got a few people joining now, which is great. Wow, what a topic we're going to talk about today. Oh my God, it's such a big topic. And normally, in the kind of traditional sense, coaching wouldn't really uh, allow us to go into the realms of working with a client through shame, through rejection, through abandonment, through an inner critic they might hold. But now, as the years have developed, that just used to be kept for the counselors, the psychotherapists, the mental health team, even, when really it is a part of our normal, natural childhood. This is something I'm very passionate about through my own childhood experiences, having to rebuild my life to overcome shame, rejection, abandonment, and obviously a massive inner critic, um, which was there to try and keep me safe, but it was keeping me locked, trapped, in prison within myself. So I'd love to hear your stories about how shame, rejection, the inner critic is holding you back from fulfilling your true potential, whatever your true potential looks like. I know you're on the Successful, Sassy and Spiritual group right now. This is where I'm live. But, for some of us, our full potential can be being the best mum. We can be being the best partner. We can be finding that relationship that gives us that unconditional love, where we feel the freedom and to be authentic and be ourselves in that relationship, to love and be loved. That can be a part of realizing your full potential. It doesn't have to come in the form of success, money, building a business. It doesn't have to come in any of those labels. It's an internal feeling of feeling fulfilled, and that you're actually living a life where you feel free and able to be yourself. Because feeling free and able to be yourself is part of releasing and healing from the shame. Because shame keeps you small. It literally changes your physiological state. If you think about a time in your own life where you felt shame, have you done the power pose, the superwoman pose in the face of shame when you were, 5 or 7 year old? Or did you shrink into the body and try and shrink and make yourself seem invisible? Shame is about you hiding away. It's not about you standing in your light and taking power and ownership. You might be able to do that if that situation happened as an adult, but certainly not as a child when you internalize everything. So I'm just going to check to see if there are any comments, because I'd love to share to see how this is showing up for you guys. So Liz says, doesn't it? Yeah. Hi, Suzanne. And Amy says, I really struggle in relationships too. And I think that's the cause of childhood abandonment. Absolutely. Yeah, could well be. And I know how that feels, because that's been my biggest area of challenge, is our relationships. It's gotten easier, but it's still a continual working through process of awareness, reflection, and conscious choice. Relationships also don't just come in the intimate relationships we have, they come in all of the relationships we have. And what we normally see reflected back to us in the eyes of others is our own fears and insecurities of shame, rejection, and abandonment. Because you're taking the course, how your scripts play out. And we make these scripts our habitual way of living. A script, just for the sake of other people who aren't taking the course, an inner script is something we form from our early traumatic childhood experiences that we believe to be true. So we form a belief based on a painful experience. I know dad left at 3 and never came back. The belief formed from a very young, immature brain could be that I wasn't good enough to stay around for. I'm not worthy. I'll always be abandoned, something of that nature. And then the next incidence where a friend at school goes off and plays with someone else confirms the belief that's already there. So it's a bit like that domino effect or Jenga effect or something, whatever you want to call it. It builds, because we've internalized something and we believe it to be true. And when we believe something to be true, our reality fits the shape of our belief system, whether it's true or not. We believe it to be true. And that builds and builds and builds. So the brain then creates this wiring effect where it just circuits around this belief system, seeing everything in externally, and it literally triggers all the time, automatically, really subconsciously, to keep that belief in place. So then we go out into the workplace, we hold this belief, we see it reflected back to us in colleagues, in bosses, in friends, in social situations, and they are not true. It's literally the script and the story that you're telling yourself, and you're putting other people in your script as well for them to mirror that back, mirror your own inner belief back to you, so it stays true. So it's pretty effed up, really, isn't it? Hi, Gail. Suzanne says, I've struggled to move forwards due to relationship issues, mostly from lack of respect for myself, felt abandoned and rejected, caused so many self-limiting beliefs. Yeah, absolutely. So think about, I'll share something really painful for me that happened to me when I was shamed, and this is how my inner critic was born, let's say, was given a life of its own. Normally, when you're shamed by somebody continuously to the point where you start to question, is this actually true about me? You are trying to defend yourself. And the brain can defend itself by trying to, in some part, side with the abuser, let's say, the person doing the shaming, whether that is in jest or whether that's intentionally shaming. When your brain tries to kind of side, if that makes sense, with the shamer, there's a part of you that is trying to stop what you're feeling. Because if you can change yourself, adapt yourself, so that person does not think of you that way anymore, then you've succeeded. So when I was a child, there was quite a lot of emotional stuff that went on. And the messages that I heard were quite very detrimental to who I thought I was. And I internalized those words. Literally one day, looked at myself in the mirror, square in the mirror. I think I probably started hitting myself in the face, and I started saying, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And I started repeating the words that the shamer was telling me about myself. Not only did I repeat them to myself in the mirror, I wrote them down as well, just to solidify even further the belief system. Because at that moment, I thought, if this must be true, there's something fundamentally wrong with me, that because this wouldn't be happening otherwise. So this is about me. It's not about them. It's all about me. And I thought, well, if I can hate me too, maybe that person will like me more. And that was so, so damaging, because then that created a complete reality of shame. So much so where I, really did not want to speak out in front of people. I was very kind of, introvert, and as it's affected me in my adult life, it's made me it's made me hold back on putting myself out there. Obviously, I work through that now, totally work with it and through it. So it doesn't hold me back. But there's just an example of how you can internalize that situation. Then the inner critic comes in because it wants to keep you safe. In a strange way, it's doing a wonderful job for you. It's trying to look after you, otherwise it wouldn't be there. Yes, Suzanne says triggers holding trauma from it too. Jane, hi Jane. Jane says you taught me all sorts, but why can I have so many positive comments and then it only takes one bad to take me back? That's such a good point. Because you're not willing to believe the positive comments. It's really difficult. We've got this negative bias, they call it, in the brain, where it scans for attack. You know, the brain is designed to put you on alert and make you aware that there's a threat. Make you aware that there is a threat happening in your life. I just want to check you guys can all still see me and hear me. So when you start to love yourself, this goes for everyone, and I know it's cliche, so, love yourself, what's that mean? But when you do really start to, let's just start with like yourself. When you start to like yourself, you can start to appreciate yourself. You can start to see reality as it is. And reality is you're not going to get liked by everybody, and that's okay. When you don't like yourself and you're not being your own supporter in life, and you haven't found a way to self-nurture yourself in a healthy way, then you will take that comment and the whole attack and defense and self-worth and shame, and the inner critic comes in to say, look, told you, you're not likable, really, are you? All these other people's just bullshit. They're just saying it because, you know, they're always going to like it. But look, this one person who means so much to me, but they don't mean so much to you, really, do they? But in your head, you're telling yourself this story. Hope that makes sense. Oh God, you can still hear me. So how to work with that? Well, when you realize that the inner critic is a voice, and that voice can take on the voice of the person who was doing the shaming or rejecting, or it can come through as your own voice, which, yeah, it makes it even harder to distinguish. Then a good way to do it is, there's so many different ways to work with your body and your brain. And some of the ways are so simple and might sound a bit strange, but everything is imagination. You know, when you, everything about how you live is come from your thoughts and your imagination, and you can't imagine what the hell you like. When we were kids, we used to imagine all kinds of things. We used to believe in Father Christmas and the Tooth Fairy because our peers are very influential. So that's how influential outside sources can be. They make you believe things that aren't freaking true. So start to define your own truth. That's so important. You have to start finding your own truth, your own inner truth. You have to start really questioning what you believe and why you believe in it. And if what you believe in has come from a negative root cause, then there's likely to be some very mistruths or untruths around that belief system you're so tightly holding on to keep yourself safe. So first of all, start to define your own truth about you. Who are you really? What is it that you appreciate about yourself? That's all we're looking for. We're not looking for your flaws. We've all got flaws. Don't worry about them. Someone else will point them out to you. This is about becoming your own best friend. And seriously, you have to start to become your own best friend, because no fucker else is going to do it for you. And even if they did, you wouldn't believe them until you change the way you feel about yourself. So start determining your own truth. Also, do something with the physical body. When you start to go into this negative shame experience or this thing that's holding you back in relationships, ask it to come out and sit on your hand and talk to you. Like, literally just imagine it there in your hand coming out and speaking to you. If you do it now, Just give yourself a couple of minutes, seconds, just breathe into that. Notice where you feel the physical sensations of shame, rejection, abandonment, inner critic in your body. I know where I feel mine. And just notice what it does to your physical body when you go into that energy state. For me, it hits my back. It lives in my back. It lives in my shoulders. It makes me cower and not want to be seen and want to be invisible and not want to be attacked. It lives there. So just imagine, you can even get your hand where you feel it and imagine pulling the fucking thing out by the root and placing it on your hand. And then ask yourself, what does this look like? You know, does it have a sound? Does it have a colour? Does it move? Is it heavy? Is it light? Maybe speak to it and say, where did you come from? Why are you here? Maybe, like me right now, I'm seeing a memory of where that actually stemmed from, why it's there, and what it's done for me and to me. There are many, many ways you can work with this. One way I really like to work with it is on the other hand. Maybe place your hand on your heart and allow all your strengths, that your deep qualities, your beautiful qualities, to come through and to sit on your other hand. And whatever those qualities are, just allow yourself to really big yourself up right now in this moment. Just be your own best friend right now. What would you say about you? How good you are, how beautiful person you are, how kind, caring, strong, resourceful, honest, dependable, trustworthy, considerate. All those beautiful qualities of what you are. Allow them to come and sit on this other hand. And just notice the sensation that you get in that hand. How big does it feel? Mine feels quite bubbly, like poppy. And maybe you feel it's a lot bigger or smaller. It's up to you. What do you feel about it? And just notice, does it have a colour? Mine doesn't have a colour. It's actually white. So that might be okay. But if it has a colour, what colour is it? And intensify that colour. So I'm going to make mine really super white, bright, and really, really big and powerful. And imagine that vibration, that energy, all your positive qualities expanding so, so, so big that it feels like, you know, this is getting a bit uncomfortable to hold now. And just close your eyes and breathe into that and just feel the energy of all your positive qualities building and expanding, getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter until it's almost going to pop. And as soon as it's going to pop, just close your hands together. And as you put your hands together, all that positive energy soaks into that negative energy. So that negative energy has no other choice but to dissipate and turn into this beautiful positive energy that you now hold in both of your hands. And just see that positive energy. Maybe it's a colour. Just see all that positive energy in the palms of your hand now. There is nothing left of the remnants of that old energy of shame. And just rub your hands together and get some friction going so it feels like it's really, really energetic. So all of that positive energy now is taken over. And when that feels, again, you're just going to burst with that energy. Just allow it to really put it into the body. And put it where you felt it as well. You know, I felt it here. So put it there. And just breathe it in and allow it to spread. Okay. And just notice how that feels in your body. Does that feel better by doing that simple energy technique? Do you feel better after thinking about all the trauma? So just work with your body. Listen to your body. Your body is your spiritual vessel. Your body tells you everything you need to know about what's going on, how you feel. It tells you about your past. Are you still holding on to your past? It'll tell you about your future and what's right for you in your future. But we don't listen to our body. We think it's just this thing that gets us up in the morning and helps us function. It's not. It's so much more than that. It's your spiritual meat suit in a way. But it holds all your nerve fibers. It holds all your chakras, your spiritual nerve fibers that are interfacing with your physical and your spiritual environment and connection. They tell you so much about your story, about who you are. And you have the ability to change that story so you can become the person that you actually want to be. But it really does start with connecting with yourself and becoming your own best friend. So I hope that's helped in some way. Drop your comments below. I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't subscribed, go on over, and I will see you soon, guys. Any questions before I go? Suzanne says yes, that she enjoyed that. Okay, take care, guys. See you soon.